So you were found, but you weren't able to be identified. The second way will be that you're still yet to be found because you're either lost at sea or buried in a field somewhere. And the third way is because there's nothing to find, because we're quite fragile and yeah. So that makes up the three categories of missing. So some of them have that little bronze rosette, like John Cemetary and Pete Sustrup. What that means is their bodies were found after this was built.
Okay.
So the cemetery there was an American cemetery here before, during the war, but right at the very far end of where we are now. That was in 44. In 47, they offer all the families repatriation. Okay, about 60% took the bodies home, and then the remainder were moved to two remaining cemeteries, this being one. Even those that were already buried here were then disinterred and reburied because the layout's changed. Okay, and then that process took till 1951, another 3 years to get everyone else from elsewhere buried here, and in July 56 the cemetery opened like as a place to visit. And of course since then they've found people, or they found remains, and so when they find American remains, if they found an American body tomorrow, by definition, if he's in Normandy, he'll be on this wall. Okay, so then they would start a process of identification. If there's a dog tag, well, that's a big clue. If there's not, there's whatever else they can find. So John Cemetary, he was found in 2009. He was in a little village called Saint-Germain-d'El, and he was posted missing in June 44. In May 2009, they were digging foundations for a small car park, and they found human remains. But in Europe, that's nothing kind of too exciting, but they had American dog tags. So they called in the authorities from here. At the time there was a DNA lab in Hawaii, which is where they did all the testing. So they took the remains to Hawaii, traced his family, and they verified that it was him, and the family got the same option as they would have had in 1944, or 47, sorry. Do you want to take him overseas and have him buried at home, or do you want to leave him where he was? And they opted to take him home, so he's now in Arlington. So he's buried back in Arlington. And the same thing would happen today. If they found remains from World War II, the family would get the same option. Do you want to take him home or leave him overseas? Because that's the option they were offered after the war, and because they haven't technically had that option yet, then it's still valid. Pete Slustrop, so Axel, really, but everyone called him Pete, that's his middle name. He was on a B-26, a medium bomber, as they shot down their comm in June 44, and he was found in 1984. But they said they found four. Did I tell you this yesterday? About 4 guys.
Told me, you didn't tell me.
Okay, yeah. So basically 4 guys they found in the nose of the aircraft. So they're able to identify him. And the pilot, Don Weiss, he's around there. He was 5'4", so he was well below minimum height for pilots. So he used to wear kind of platforms on his shoes. And one of the femurs they found was just really short. So that's Don Weiss's leg. So they're kind of piecing together the evidence, because back then there's no DNA technology. It's all kind of old-fashioned forensics. So it was like an 11-year process, to work out who these people were. There's 2 guys from their plane still missing, a guy called Perkins and a guy called Thomas McCaslin. So they're still missing. John Canty was also on the plane. He was found, he's under seas obviously, he was found only last year. So he's the most recent American to be found in Normandy, okay, officially. But there's another fellow who they found recently who they haven't actually disclosed yet whether it's definitely him or not, but so there's still an ongoing thing, when they find, there's people who go out looking actively. Sometimes they find it by mistake, but people will, in theory, one day most, if not all, these men could be, they could all have the little rosette, okay? Or a lot of them could, a lot more. So of course some of them are lost at sea, which means they're probably irretrievable. And if you see, every panel has guys from the 66th Division.
Yes.
So you think that division had a bad time here, but they didn't. None of those men fought in Normandy. They're all on a ship called the Leopoldville. And on Christmas Eve 1944, she was approaching Cherbourg, and she was sunk by a German U-boat. And about 2,000 men on board, over half were rescued, but over 700 drowned. And because this is the closest American cemetery to where that happened, this is where they're commemorated. So the cemetery is not just D-Day, it's not really just the Battle of Normandy, it's more like a geographic thing. If it's the closer one, yeah, so it's near here, rather than, it's not when, but where you died. And then in other theatres, you've got other people buried in other cemeteries. There's a few people here who died outside Normandy, and they're here because of relatives. So there's 41 pairs of brothers in here. And sometimes, one brother might be killed in Italy and his brother here in Normandy, so they're brought here. But the majority are from the Normandy campaign, so June to August 44, and about 1,000 from D-Day itself, from the first day. Come a little bit further.